The night market was alive with color and noise. Stalls lined both sides of the street, selling glowing crystals, alien spices, and mechanical trinkets. Strange lights flickered above, mixing with the scent of fried food and burning oil. Creatures from many worlds moved through the crowd, their voices blending into a heavy hum. In the middle of this chaos walked a young alien girl. Her hair shimmered under the neon glow, her steps small but firm. Around her neck she wore a simple chain, and hanging from it was a glowing amulet. The stone inside pulsed with a soft light. It was not just jewelry. It was her last memory of her mother. Her mother had whispered before dying, "Guard this, my child, for it holds the path to our family's truth." The girl held the amulet close. She did not notice the shadow watching her. In a corner of the market, a group of masked aliens stood. Their eyes fixed on the jewel, they whispered to each other, "That is the one. Take it. Tonight we become rich." The girl stopped at a stall of fabrics. She touched a smooth cloth, thinking of how her mother once sewed clothes for her. A small smile formed on her face, but in the next breath everything changed. A hand grabbed her shoulder. Another pulled the chain around her neck. The fabric of her shirt tore as she was yanked forward. She gasped, her eyes wide with shock. "No! Please!" she cried. But the amulet was ripped away. The glowing jewel flashed in the thief's hand as he pushed her to the ground. The crowd saw it. Dozens of eyes turned, but no one moved. Some looked away, afraid of the masked gang. Others simply continued. Shopping in this market, robbery was common, and no one wanted to die for another's trouble. The girl lay on the ground, her shirt torn, her chest heaving. She reached out a trembling hand toward the thief. "Give it back," she whispered. Her voice was weak, broken. The masked gang laughed. "Your family's treasure is ours now, little one," one of them sneered. They turned to leave. The amulet glowed brighter in their hand as if angry to be stolen, and then a voice cut through the market. "Hey, drop it." The words were sharp, loud, and unlike the fearful whispers of the crowd, everyone turned. A tall human stood near a food stall. His clothes were simple, dusty from travel. His face carried no fear, only anger. He walked toward the thieves, his fists clenched. The crowd gasped. "A human? He's mad, he'll be killed," someone muttered. The girl looked up. Her eyes widened as she saw the stranger move closer. He was not like the others. He did not look away. He did not stay silent. The thieves laughed. "Stay out of this, human. You don't belong here." Their leader raised a blade. "Walk away if you value your life." But the human did not stop. His boots echoed against the stone as he pushed through the crowd. He pointed at the amulet. "Give it back to her now." His voice was steady, unshaken. The girl's heart pounded. She had never seen anyone stand up against the gang before. She wanted to warn him, to tell him to run. But no words left her lips. Her throat was frozen. The gang spread out, circling the human. They towered over him, each armed with knives and sticks. Yet the human's eyes never wavered. The market seemed to fall silent. The smells, the noise, the shouting, all faded. All that remained was the sharp tension in the air. A fight was about to break out. The girl pressed her hand against her chest. Her torn shirt exposed her skin to the cold night air. But she did not care. Her whole world was focused on that amulet and the man who dared to fight for it. The thieves moved first. One lunged with a knife, but the human's fist shot out like lightning. The sound of impact cracked through the silence. The thief fell to the ground with a broken jaw. The crowd gasped louder now. Some began whispering, "Humans fight like beasts." Another thief rushed in, swinging a club. The human ducked. His elbow slammed into the attacker's ribs. The alien coughed blood and stumbled back. The leader snarled, "Kill him!" 3 rushed at once. The human raised his arms, blocking, striking, his body moving with raw, simple power. No training, no weapons, just a will to fight. His knuckles split. Blood ran down his hand, but he did not stop. The girl pushed herself. To her feet, her legs shaking, she could hardly believe it. A stranger was fighting for her, a human she had never met. The leader tightened his grip on the amulet. "You'll die for nothing," he hissed. He stepped back, preparing to escape into the alley with the prize. The human's eyes locked on the glowing jewel. His chest rose and fell heavily. He wiped blood from his lip. Then he growled, "Not while I'm still breathing." The night market held its breath. The fight was not over. It had only just begun. The market had gone quiet after the human's challenge. The crowd, usually noisy with bargaining voices, now stood frozen. Everyone's eyes were locked on the circle forming around the human. The alien girl clutched her torn shirt and watched with fear. The thieves laughed at first, their voices loud, mocking. "A human? Standing against us? This is new." The leader sneered. He held the glowing amulet high, its light casting shadows across his mask. "Do you know who we are? Do you know how many we've killed for less than this?" But the human did not flinch. His gaze was fixed on the leader. His jaw was tight, his fists ready. His voice came low but strong. "I don't care who you are. That amulet belongs to her. Give it back." The leader waved his hand, and one of the masked thieves stepped forward. He swung a rusty blade, aiming to cut across the human's chest. The crowd gasped. Some turned their heads, expecting blood to spray. Instead, the human moved. His body bent slightly, his fist snapping upward. The punch connected with the alien's jaw. A crack rang out like thunder. The thief's mask broke in half, and he collapsed to the ground unconscious. For a heartbeat, silence hung in the air. The crowd's fear turned into whispers. "He dropped him with one strike. Did you see that?" Another muttered. Some aliens who had ignored the robbery now leaned forward, their eyes wide. The alien girl's lips parted in shock. Her heart beat faster. She had seen fights before, but never like this. The human did not look like a soldier. He carried no weapon, yet his punch was like iron. The leader's grin faltered. He gave a signal, and another thief rushed forward with a club. The alien raised the weapon high, aiming for the human's head. But the human stepped aside, his hand catching the attacker's wrist. With a twist and a shove, the club clattered to the ground. The human's elbow smashed into the thief's ribs, and the alien coughed blood. As he stumbled back, the girl's breath caught. Her eyes followed every move. He was fighting not for himself but for her. She could feel it, and her chest tightened with a strange warmth. The leader growled, "Enough games, kill him!" Three at once moved in, circling. The human's body tensed, his eyes darted from one to the other. He had no time to think, only to act. The first swung a blade. The human blocked with his forearm. Pain shot through him, but he did not stop. He punched again, this time into the alien's stomach. The second tried to grab him from behind, but the human twisted, ramming his shoulder into the attacker's chest. The third lunged, knife flashing, and for a moment it seemed the human would fall, but then, with a roar, he ducked and slammed his fist upward into the alien's chin. The blade flew from the thief's hand and clattered across the stones. The crowd roared now. Some cheered, others shouted in shock. Whispers spread like fire. "Humans, they fight like beasts when pushed." The leader's grip on the amulet tightened. His laughter turned into anger. "You think you can win? You're only one man." The human stood tall, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. Blood dripped from his knuckles, his lip was cut, but his eyes burned with fire. He pointed at the leader again. "Then come try me yourself." The girl gasped softly. She could hardly believe the courage in his voice. He was bleeding, surrounded, outnumbered. Yet he stood, as if the whole galaxy could not move him. The leader hesitated. He had expected the human to back down. Instead, this stranger fought with a will stronger than steel. The gang members looked uneasy. Two already lay groaning on the ground, and the others stepped back slightly. The human's first punch had changed everything. It was not just a fight anymore. It was a challenge, a spark that could light a fire in the whole market. The alien girl saw it in the faces of the crowd. Some were no longer afraid. Some even looked inspired, but danger was not over. The leader snarled and raised his blade. He stepped forward, his voice cold. "If you want to die for her, then die." The human clenched his fists again. He shifted his weight, ready for the next strike. His muscles ached. but his spirit burned hotter. He looked back for just a moment at the alien girl. Her wide eyes met his, and in that second he gave her a small nod. It was not just about the amulet anymore. It was about showing her, showing everyone, that one person's courage could stand against many. The leader lunged. The fight for the amulet and for the girl's hope had only begun. The human's fists dripped with blood. 3 of the masked thieves were already on the ground, groaning and broken. The crowd was no longer silent. They whispered, pointed, and even gasped at the sight of a single human standing against so many, but the leader of the gang was not finished. His eyes burned with rage behind the mask. He clutched the glowing amulet tighter in his hand. The light from the jewel flickered, casting strange patterns on his skin. He hissed, "Enough of this," and signaled his men. Before the human could strike again, 2 thieves grabbed the alien girl. They yanked her arms back and shoved her toward the alley. The leader laughed. "If we cannot kill you, human, then we will take her instead. The amulet and the girl, both will bring us fortune." The girl screamed, her voice sharp and filled with terror. "No, let me go." She fought against them, but their grips were iron. Her feet scraped against the stone as they dragged her away. The human's heart thundered, his blood boiled hotter than his wounds. He roared, "Don't touch her," and shoved aside the thief in front of him. But by the time he cleared his path, the gang was already running down the narrow alley with the girl and the amulet. Without hesitation, the human charged after them. His boots pounded against the uneven stones. The market's main road gave way to twisting, shadowy paths. Neon lights from the stalls faded, leaving only the dim glow of broken lamps. The girl's breath came in ragged gasps as she was pulled. Through the dark alleys, she twisted her head, searching desperately. And then she saw him, chasing, relentless, his eyes locked only on her. The leader sneered back, "Faster! He's right behind us." The gang scattered, climbing over crates, shoving through hidden doors. But the human kept running. His lungs burned, his arms ached, yet his legs refused to stop. The alley grew narrower, the walls closer. Strange graffiti and alien symbols glowed, faintly under the dim light. Trash littered the ground. The smell of oil and decay filled the air. Still he pushed forward. His mind repeated only one thought: "I will not let them take her." The girl stumbled, her captors dragging her roughly. She cried out again, her voice trembling, "Help!" The sound stabbed into the human's chest like a blade. It made him run faster. His muscles screamed, but his will was unbroken. One thief turned back with a blade, ready to strike if the human got closer. He swung wildly, but the human ducked, his shoulders slamming into the thief's chest. The alien crashed into the wall and collapsed. The human did not stop to look. His eyes were still on the girl. The chase twisted through a maze of alleys. Some dead ends forced the gang to turn. Sharply, the leader cursed, "This way," as he pushed the girl harder. The amulet still in his hand glowed brighter, as if resisting him. The girl's knees scraped against the rough stones. Her arms were bruised from the grip of the thieves, but her eyes clung to the sight of the human. Her chest filled with something new. Hope. For the first time since her mother's death, she felt like she was not alone. The human's breaths grew heavier. Sweat and blood mixed on his face. His knuckles throbbed from the fight, but every time he wanted to slow, he remembered the girl's desperate cry. That sound drove him harder. The gang reached a wider alley where shadows gathered thicker. Old, neon signs flickered above broken shops. The leader looked around, his voice low. "Here, we can finish him." He shoved the girl against the wall and raised the amulet. "Hold her. Don't let her move. This human thinks he can chase us into our own territory. He will die here." The human stepped into the open space, his chest rose and fell. His hands were ready, though his body shook with exhaustion. He scanned the scene, the girl trapped between 2 gang members, the leader with the amulet, and 4 others circling with knives. The girl's eyes met his, wide and glistening. "Please, don't stop," she whispered. Her voice carried even in the heavy air. The human clenched his jaw. He took one step forward, then another. His voice came steady. "You made a mistake when you touched her, and a bigger one when you stole from her family. You won't leave here with either." The thieves laughed. "He's tired. Look at him. He can't fight us all again." But beneath their masks, their eyes darted nervously. They had seen his strength. They had felt the weight of his punches. The leader raised his blade high. "Kill him!" The human lowered his stance, his fists curled tighter than before. His heart thundered like war drums. This alley would not be his grave. It would be their prison. The girl's torn shirt fluttered in the cold wind. Her voice trembled. "You can do it." And in that moment, the human roared and charged forward, his fists swinging with everything he had. The chase was over. The real battle had begun. The alley smelled of oil and smoke. The neon lights above flickered weakly, casting long shadows across the broken walls. The human stood at one end, fists clenched, chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. The alien gang spread out, their weapons glinting in the dim light. The girl pressed against the wall, her torn shirt hanging loosely, bruises on her arms. Her eyes darted between the thieves and the human. Fear squeezed her chest, but hope burned in her heart. She whispered, almost like a prayer, "Please, don't fall." The leader of the gang lifted the glowing amulet. Its strange light flickered, illuminating his mask. He sneered, "You've chased us far enough, human. This is where your courage ends." The human did not move back. He took one step forward. His voice came steady, though blood dripped from his lip. "I told you already. I'm not leaving without her and without that amulet." The leader's laugh echoed through the alley, sharp and cruel. He gave a signal, and two thieves rushed first. One swung a blade downward, the other came from the side with a club. The human's body bent low. His fist snapped into the first thief's stomach. The alien fell to his knees, gasping. Before the second could strike, the human twisted, catching the club with his arm. The blow rattled his bones, pain shot through him, but he gritted his teeth and drove his elbow into the attacker's face. Blood splattered on the stones. The crowd at the far end of the alley, small groups of onlookers who had followed, gasped in shock. They whispered, "He's still standing, he's still fighting." The girl's heart pounded harder. Every punch, every move made her believe more in him. This human was different. He was fighting not for money, not for pride, but for her. The leader snarled, "Don't just watch, surround him." The trap closed. 4 thieves moved at once, circling like wolves. The human's eyes darted left and right, his arms raised to block, his body already bruised and bleeding. The first strike came from behind, a blade cutting the air. He ducked, the knife grazing his shoulder. Pain seared through his skin, but he spun and slammed his fist into the attacker's chest. The second thief leapt forward, claws ready. The human kicked out, his boot catching the alien's knee. A sick crack echoed as the thief howled, but while he fought one side, another came from the other. The club smashed against the human's back. His body lurched forward, his vision blurred for a second. The girl screamed, "No!" Her cry lit fire in his chest. He straightened, grabbed the attacker's wrist, and pulled him forward, smashing his head against the wall. The alien slumped, unconscious. The last thief left in the circle lunged with a dagger. The blade cut across, the human's arm leaving a red line of blood. He hissed but swung back with a brutal punch. The alien collapsed with a broken nose. The crowd erupted again. Shock turned to awe. Some even whispered with trembling voices, "Humans. They fight like demons when they protect someone." But the leader was not shaken. He still held the amulet. Its light glowed brighter now, as if reacting to the fight. The girl's eyes widened. The jewel was pulsing, strange lines forming inside, it like a map. The leader saw it too and smirked. "So this is its secret, not just a jewel but a key." He turned to the girl, pointing his blade. "It belonged to your mother, didn't it? That means it belongs to me now, through your blood." The girl shook her head violently. Tears filled her eyes. "No. That amulet is all I have left of her. Please." Her voice cracked with pain. The human's rage grew hotter. He stepped forward, blood dripping from his fists. His voice was sharp as steel. "Touch her again and I swear you'll never walk away." The leader's eyes narrowed. He pointed to the gang members still standing. "Hold her." 2 thieves grabbed the girl. Again pinning her arms, she cried out, struggling. The human charged, but the leader raised the amulet high. Its glow expanded suddenly, casting a strange force through the alley. For a moment, the human froze. His body felt heavy. The amulet's power was strange, like invisible chains pulling at his strength. The leader laughed. You can fight with fists, but you cannot fight against this power. The girl shook her head, her voice desperate. Don't give up, please. The human growled, his muscles trembled as he pushed against the strange force. His eyes locked on the girl. He roared and forced his body to move step by step. The crowd gasped as they saw him breaking through the glow. The leader's laughter faded, his hand shook. Impossible. He resists it. The girl's eyes filled with tears, but now with awe instead of fear, she whispered, He's different and he's stronger than anyone I've ever seen. The human's steps echoed. His fists tightened again. His voice came low, filled with fire. You set a trap for me, but now you're the one trapped. And with that, he lunged forward. The leader braced with the amulet. The alley shook with the clash that was about to decide everything. The clash shook the narrow alley. The leader held the glowing amulet high, its strange energy wrapping around him like a shield. The human pushed forward, his fists ready, his bloodied knuckles burned. But his spirit burned hotter. The girl struggled. Against the thieves holding her arms, her voice cracked as she shouted, Don't stop! Please fight! Her eyes glistened with both fear and hope. The leader laughed, his voice echoing cruelly. You are strong, human, but strength means nothing against power like this. The amulet pulsed brighter, sending waves of light through the alley. The glow pressed down on the human, heavy and crushing. His knees bent, his chest ached, every breath felt like fire. For a moment, the human almost stumbled. The crowd whispered, It's too much. He can't resist forever. But then, he looked at the girl, her torn shirt, her bruised arms, her desperate eyes. That sight lit fire in his chest stronger than any magic. With a roar, he pushed against the glow. Step by step, he forced himself closer. The leader's grin faltered. Impossible, he hissed. He poured more energy into the jewel. The light exploded, flooding the alley, and then it happened. The amulet reacted not to the leader, but to the human's defiance. Its glow shifted from harsh white to soft gold. A warmth spread through, the air washing over the girl. For the first time since her mother's death, the jewel felt alive again. Images flickered in the light. The girl's breath caught as she saw them. A woman's face appeared. Gentle eyes. Soft smile. It was her. Mother, a voice whispered from the glow, not in words, but in feeling. Daughter, this is your legacy. The thieves holding the girl stumbled back. Their hands burned by the light. She fell to her knees, staring at the vision. Her tears streamed down her cheeks. Mother, she whispered. The leader tried to tighten his grip, but the amulet burned his palm. He screamed, dropping it for just a moment. The human lunged, his fist crashing into the leader's jaw. The mask cracked, and the alien staggered back. The girl crawled toward the jewel, her hands trembling as she touched it. The light softened at her touch, wrapping around her like a protective embrace. Her mother's voice grew clearer. The map. The stars will guide you. The human paused, his chest heaving. He looked at the glowing patterns forming inside the jewel. Lines connected, forming a star map. Strange symbols shifted, revealing a hidden path across the galaxy. The leader spat blood, his rage growing. No, it belongs to me. He dove for the jewel, but the human stepped in front. His arm shot out, blocking him. No, the human growled. His fist slammed into the leader's face again. The alien crashed to the ground, dazed. The girl held the amulet close to her chest, its warmth spread through her. She felt stronger, safer, as if her mother's spirit was holding her once more. Her eyes lifted to the human. He stood over her like a wall, shielding her from the gang. The remaining thieves hesitated. Their eyes darted between the glowing jewel and the bleeding human. Fear trembled in their limbs. The whispers of the crowd grew louder. The amulet chose her, and him. The leader staggered back to his feet, his mask half broken, his voice cracked with desperation. You don't understand, this jewel is power. With it I can control ships, armies, entire systems. His eyes shone with greed. It's wasted on her, wasted on you, human. The human wiped blood from his lip, his eyes narrowed. Power? You call this power? All I see is a mother's love that's not yours to take. The girl's voice trembled as she stood, holding the jewel close. My mother gave it to me. It's not meant for you, it's not meant for greed. The leader screamed in fury and charged again. His blade swung high. The human met him halfway. Their clash shook the alley again. Sparks flew as steel met flesh. The human grabbed the blade's edge with his bare hand. Blood dripped from his palm, but he did not let go. With his other hand, he punched the leader's chest. The alien gasped, stumbling back once more. The amulet glowed brighter, wrapping both the girl and the human in golden light. The leader shielded his eyes, screaming, "No! This cannot be!" And then, with a burst of warmth, the jewel projected the full star map into the sky above the alley. The crowd looked up in awe as glowing constellations appeared, paths leading to hidden places in the galaxy. The girl's tears glistened as she whispered, "Mother, you left me away. A destiny." The human looked at her, his voice steady though his body shook from pain. "Whatever it is, you won't face it alone." The leader fell to his knees, blinded by the light. His gang scattered fear in their eyes. The crowd roared with whispers, "The human, he fights not for himself, but for her family's truth." The girl clutched the jewel tightly. She looked at the human, her voice soft but filled with resolve. "You saved me. You saved my mother's gift." The human simply nodded, his fists unclenched, blood dripping onto the stones. "It's not over," he said quietly, his eyes lifted to the sky where the star map still glowed. This was only the beginning. The golden star map faded slowly from the night sky, but the glow of the amulet still lingered in the girl's hands. She pressed it tightly against her chest as if it were her heartbeat. Her tears mixed with a faint smile. Her mother's memory was alive, but the alley was not silent. The gang's leader, broken mask hanging from his face, rose again with trembling fury. His eyes burned. With madness, blood ran down his chin, yet he would not give up. "You think this is finished?" he spat. "No, this is only the first drop of blood. Yours will follow." The girl stepped back, clutching the amulet. Her body shook, but her gaze lifted to the human. He stood between her and the enemy, his fists raw, his shirt torn. His chest rose heavily, but his eyes still blazed. The human's voice came steady. "You've already lost." He glanced at the girl, then back to the leader. "Because I will not let you touch her again." The crowd surrounding the alley whispered louder now. The story of this fight was already growing. A human fighting for an alien girl. He bleeds, but he does not fall. Their voices trembled with awe. The leader roared and lunged forward. His blade gleamed under the weak neon lights. The human met him halfway. His fists slammed against steel. His palm burned as he blocked. But he forced the blade down. With his other hand he struck. Blood splashed, but the leader did not fall. Instead, more gang members appeared from the shadows. Reinforcements. 10 masked figures poured into the alley, each armed. Their eyes full of hatred. The trap had grown. "Even larger," the girl gasped. "No, there are too many." The human's jaw tightened. His fists curled again, though they were already bruised. His voice came like iron. "Then I'll fight them all." The gang charged. Blades and clubs flashed in the dim light. The human's body moved like fire. His fists slammed. His boots kicked. Every strike was raw, fueled by something deeper than strength. Blood flowed. His arms cut. His shoulder torn, yet he did not fall. Every time a thief tried to reach the girl, the human blocked. His back turned into her shield. The girl's eyes widened as she realized it. He was using his own body to protect her. Every wound he took, every strike he blocked was for her. The crowd gasped louder with each moment. Some aliens who had once mocked humans now shouted in disbelief. "He's still standing. He's fighting like he cannot die." The leader laughed cruelly. "You will bleed out, human, you will break." But the human roared back, his voice echoing like thunder. "Not while she's behind me." His words pierced the girl's heart. She pressed the amulet tighter. Her tears streamed again, but this time they were not of fear. They were of something else. Loyalty, respect, and a bond she had never felt before. The fight raged on. The alley filled with dust, blood, and the sound of fists meeting flesh. The human's body trembled. His knees bent. His arms barely lifted, yet his eyes still locked forward. He refused to surrender. At last, one thief raised his blade high. aiming for the girl. The human saw it at the last second. He moved, his body crashing into hers, shielding her completely. The blade slashed across his back. The girl screamed, "No!" His body shook with pain, but he did not move away. He stayed over her like a wall of flesh. In bone, his voice came hoarse. "You're safe. As long as I breathe." The thieves hesitated, their eyes widened. They had never seen such defiance, such loyalty. The leader snarled in frustration, "Kill him already!" But the amulet glowed brighter again. Its golden light wrapped around the girl and the human. The thieves stumbled back, shielding their eyes. The girl's voice trembled, but her tone grew stronger. "Stop. This fight is not yours to win. This amulet was never meant for your greed." The leader raised his blade again, but his hand shook. His eyes flickered with fear for the first time. The human stood slowly, his back bleeding, his fists trembling. He looked at the leader with eyes like burning fire. "I told you once." His voice cracked but remained steady. "You won't leave with her. You won't leave with that amulet." The crowd erupted. Some even shouted in support. Their voices carried through the night market. "Human, human, human." The girl's chest heaved as she looked at him, her voice soft but filled with awe. "You're bleeding for me. You didn't have to." He gave her the faintest smile through the blood on his lips. "Yes, I did." The fight was not just fists and blades anymore. It was fire and loyalty. It was a promise unspoken but stronger than iron. The leader realized it then. His eyes darted between the human and the glowing jewel. His voice cracked with fear and anger. "No matter how strong you are, no matter how loyal, you cannot stop what's coming." But the human stepped closer, his shadow long under the flickering lights. His voice was steady, final. "Try me." The alley fell silent for a heartbeat. The girl held her breath. The crowd leaned forward. The next move would decide it all. The alley was a battlefield. Blood stained the stones, dust hung in the air, and the faint glow of the amulet lit the scene like a dying star. The human stood, with his fist trembling, his back bleeding. His chest rose and fell in ragged breaths, but his eyes never left the enemy. The gang's leader staggered forward, half his mask broken, his face twisted with rage and desperation. The reinforcements he called lay scattered. On the ground, groaning or unconscious, none dared rise again against the human's fury. Yet still the leader clung to his blade. His voice cracked with madness. "I will not lose to a human. Not here. Not to you." The girl pressed against the wall, the amulet glowing against her chest. Her torn shirt fluttered with every shiver of her body. She whispered softly, "Please, stop." But she knew the leader would not. His greed was deeper than pain. The human straightened slowly. His blood dripped onto the stones. His voice came rough but steady. "You've already lost. You just can't see it yet." The leader roared, charging one last time. His blade flashed, aiming for the human's throat. The crowd gasped. Some turned their heads, unwilling to watch the end, but the human did not fall. With a surge of strength, drawn from something far beyond muscle, he caught the blade with his bare hand. The steel sliced his palm open, blood poured down his arm, but he held it firm. His other fist rose and smashed into the leader's chest. The sound echoed like a thunderclap. The leader's body lifted off the ground. He crashed into the wall and collapsed. His blade clattered beside him, his mask shattered fully, his eyes rolled back. Silence filled the alley. Only the human's heavy breaths and the crackle of broken neon lights remained. The girl dropped to her knees, clutching the amulet tighter. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She whispered, He did it." Her voice trembled with awe. The crowd erupted, some shouted in disbelief, some in respect. A human. He fought them all. He protected her until the end. Their voices carried like waves. The human's legs almost buckled. His body swayed. But then he looked at the girl. His tired eyes softened. He stepped toward her slowly, leaving red footprints behind. She reached out to him, her small hand trembling as it touched his arm. "You're bleeding," she whispered. Her voice cracked with worry. He gave a faint smile, even through the pain. "It's not the first time," he said quietly, "but it was worth it." The girl's chest tightened. Her heart ached. No one had ever risked so much for her. No one had ever stood between her and danger like this. She pressed the amulet into his hand, its golden glow wrapped around his wounded fingers. "You should hold it too," she whispered. "Because without you, I would have lost it forever." The jewel pulsed warmly, as if agreeing. For a moment, both of them stood bathed in its light and the crowd watched in silence. The leader groaned from the ground, trying weakly to crawl, but the human's boot pressed him down. His voice was firm. "Stay there. Your time is over." Guards from the market finally arrived, drawn by the noise and the light. They pushed through the crowd and saw the scene: the fallen gang, the glowing jewel, and the bloodied human standing tall. One of them whispered in disbelief, "A single human did this." The girl stood, still close to the human, her eyes fierce now, no longer only filled with fear. She faced the guards and spoke, her voice clear. "He saved me. He saved my mother's amulet. If not for him, I would have been taken." "And the jewel, lost?" The guards nodded slowly. Some even bowed their heads to the human. For the first time in this market, respect for a human spread like fire. The human finally lowered his fists. His body screamed for rest. He turned to the girl. "You should go home now. Keep the amulet safe." But she shook her head, her tears shining. "No, I won't let you walk away alone. You fought for me, you bled for me. From now on, I will walk with you." Her words stunned him. For a moment he said nothing. Then his tired lips curved into a small smile. "All right," he said softly. Then we walked together. The crowd stepped aside, making a path. As the girl leaned on him, helping him walk, whispers followed them. The human who fought back. The girl who carries her mother's star map. The golden amulet pulsed softly like a heartbeat. The girl held it close, but this time she was not trembling. She was not alone anymore. As they disappeared into the night, the story began to spread through the market, through the city, through the stars, of one human who stood when no one else dared, and of an alien girl who found not just protection, but a bond forged in fire.